Okay, and this last one is the tree activity to help us identify the roots of some negative fruit and feelings and things like that. So you could take a picture of a tree. I always say I'm not an artist, but what I also, would take into account, obviously, what do trees look like in each culture. But this is a dying tree. It has no fruit, it has no leaves, and then this is labeled shame. What you want to do is just have the tree and then the roots, and then get them to name an emotion that's negative to them that they are struggling with. And so if they can identify something, whether it's sadness, whether it's guilt, any of that, label the tree, because that is what is on the outside. And then what we want to do is we want to identify what are the roots of that. And usually it starts with experiences. What experiences made you feel shame? What experiences made you feel sad? Were there messages that you heard that made you feel shameful? It's events, messages. They can get creative. Literally anything can go under here, because we want to work to uproot that. And we then want to go through each one and ask them, how would we uproot that? So for instance, shame is a big one that I work with in trauma. And so shame might be, someone might list the events of, well, my mom wasn't around, so I felt like I wasn't good enough. Another one might be, then my dad sexually abused me because my mom wasn't there, and he needed something from someone, so he took it out on me. So that made me feel not good enough and shameful. Then I didn't do well in school, so I felt ashamed that I couldn't even do that right. So then this one can get a little heavier, but you're going to encourage them to find a scripture, look at a scripture to challenge that. Like, I didn't do well enough in school. Okay, so what does God say about you that's true? What does God say? Who does he say you are? Right? He says that he sings over you. That's the first one that popped in my head, Zephaniah 3:17. That would be a great one to challenge shame. And maybe, that it's not about works in school. It's about that he just rejoices over you. He sings over you. And so you just want to encourage them to do that, because the goal is, when we look at John 15 and we talk about no fruit can come if we don't abide in him. And there's dying and withering away from that. So it's just a visual to help them identify what contributes to this and the outward dying, and then how do we uproot it, and how do we work towards challenging it with God's truth and scripture. That's also cognitive behavioral therapy. But this is just a visual to do that. So I hope that makes sense, and I know it's a really short version, but tell me if it doesn't, we can talk through it more.